diagnosis of cancer is a 24-hour mental thing. You can't erase it. It's always there. And you need relief. And this really gets me through. Okay, give me a little music so we can mask the crying. When I dance, we say in the business, I'm in the moment. I'm experiencing what the dance gives to me. And nothing hurts. I can't think of anything except enjoying the dance. So all through my life, dance has been my outlet for relieving tension, expressing feelings, and I've been doing it now for over 20 some odd years. One day I was examining myself in the shower and I felt a lump on the side of my breast. And my husband, being a physician, I asked him to check, and he says, listen, there's only one way we know. You have to have a biopsy. The biopsy came back positive. It was cancer. And of course I called my husband, which he knew about it already, and we were both crying on the telephone, and he said, I'll come home. And I said, no, don't come home. I have a class to teach. And that's what I did. Nobody knew about it, and it was terrific because during the class, you know, I was crying to myself, feeling very upset with the diagnosis, scared and everything, but it really made me feel so much better. And then after I went through the chemotherapy, being bald, the whole number, radiation, everything was fine, tests were clear. About a year later, I met somebody who said, now we are able to test for the gene, the BRCA1 and 2. I suggest you do it because you have 3 daughters. And so I did. I got tested for the gene and came up positive. I have BRCA1. Having the gene puts me at a 96th percentile for getting breast cancer. And so with that, the doctors recommended that I do bilateral mastectomy and an oophorectomy, which means removing the ovaries. And that's quite a decision for a woman to make, to have to remove her breast. And not that I'm really hung up on this, quote, Hollywood type of look type of thing, but that's a big decision. And I said, well, I can do mammograms and I can do palpations and I'll just do the oophorectomy. And I was taking a shower right after I had a mammogram and I found a lump in the other breast. And I said, that's it. My breasts are killing me. It's not from dance. So I did the bilateral mastectomy and the oophorectomy. The support system that I have is my family. I have children that call, ask, care. And when I walked with my family the very first time, you know, you get caught up into you're diagnosed, you're a cancer survivor, and you're considered a survivor from diagnosis. And I'm walking with my family, and it was really a very warm feeling. And I saw girls carrying signs on their back saying, I'm walking for my mother. I'm walking for my aunt. I'm walking for my sister. He was a big loss in many ways. A big loss not only as a husband, but as my confidant, my physician. You know, I really leaned on him. That was a blow to him that I got diagnosed. Because his rock, who never got sick, I was always the caregiver, you know, crashed. My husband died in September. What happened to him was a fluke. Here's a man who survives a liver transplant, the hardest surgery there is out there, doing fabulous, and he trips and he hits his head. So you talk about irony of life, but you talk about life within an instant. Your life changes. Give your kid a hug and say, I love you. Give your spouse a hug and say, I love you. Don't wait 6 weeks down the road, because that 6 weeks might turn, you might turn around and say, oh, if I only said something. We said something. Then when I got re-diagnosed again with cancer, one of the first things I said, where's my husband when I need him? I really needed somebody to hang on to. And I must say that my doctor, he put his arm around me when I got diagnosed. He says, don't worry, I will treat you like my sister. And he has. He calls me constantly. He's there. He's always, making sure and everything. But it's when you're home alone at night, you don't have somebody to hold you. And that's what I really miss. Somebody really holding me. But then, you get up the next day and you go on. Life does not stop. The world does not stop because you've had tragedy. You've got to go on. And so I do. Yeah. We did this trip in October. All over the mountains, everywhere, on the stupas and everything, they fly prayer flags for people who have died. On these flags are all prayers that they believe are written on the flag that when you fly them are blown into the air. So we climbed Kalabatar, which was 18,600 feet, and it's right across from Mount Everest. And on top there, I took a prayer flag, and we hung a flag for my husband. My daughter, a month before doing this trip, had made a tremendous decision in her life. She found out that she carries the BRCA1 gene, and it places her at extremely high risk for getting breast cancer. And she decided she didn't want to get breast cancer. And she was 39 at the time. She did not have breast cancer. What she was trying to do was remove the breast so that she could reduce her risk of getting breast cancer. And doing that procedure, she lowered her rate from like 96% down to like 3 or 4%, whatever the average woman is right now. And so when we were about 16,000 feet in the air, the sun came out. We were just hit with a snowstorm the night before. The sky was absolutely crystal blue. We had a beautiful, beautiful mountain in the background called Ama de Blam, which is all white. We took off our shirts, raised our arms in celebration of life. Since then, I've been to Peru, did the Inca Trail, went to Patagonia, did a lot of trekking around there, and then, of course, Kilimanjaro was my next big trip. 1 week before I was ready to climb Kilimanjaro, I had been complaining some symptoms. My doctor did tests, and he walked in and he said, "Debbie, you have breast cancer again." And I looked at him and I said, "Wow." And I said, "Well, Doc, I'm leaving next week for Kilimanjaro." And he said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he says, "No, you're not." And to show you the impact that my husband left on me, I said, "Well, doctor, I can feel my husband right back here screaming at me. You listen to your doctors." And so 1 week before climbing that mountain, I had to call the people that I was going to go with and say, I have to cancel. What are the odds of me surviving? Metastatic breast cancer, you don't survive. It's a question of time. But I'm not going to worry what's down the end of the road. I'm going to worry right now and taking care of myself and dealing with the day and enjoying it. Diagnosis of cancer is really very difficult to deal with. One of the things it did do, which is very positive, was make you love life. You cherish life. You know, you have a taste for it each day. One of my little slogans is keep on moving. And I believe if I do, that I'm going to get through this a lot better. In the house.